All right, today we're tackling a really important topic, something that impacts a ton of new mothers, but often gets hidden away in the shadows: postpartum depression. It can be a massive challenge, so in this explainer, we're going to try and navigate that storm together to build a bit more understanding and compassion.
I mean, we've all seen this, right? It's the picture you see everywhere, in movies, all over your Instagram feed. This idea that the moment you become a mother, it's just instant, pure bliss. That's the story we're told. That's the expectation. But what if that's not your reality? What happens when, behind all the happy photos, a new mom is actually really struggling, when the reality feels nothing like that dream? That's the really important question we have to start asking. And that brings us right to this idea of the motherhood myth, this huge pressure to be the perfect mother. And trying to live up to that, well, it's basically impossible. It makes it so hard for women to admit, even to themselves, that they're caught in a serious emotional storm after having a baby. And really, that's the heart of the issue, isn't it? So many women go through this, it's way more common than you'd think, but because nobody talks about it, it creates this awful feeling of being completely alone. You feel like you can't say anything because you're afraid people will think you're failing, when the truth is, you're dealing with a legitimate health challenge. Okay, so first things first, we've got to clear something up. It is so important to know the difference between the baby blues, which a lot of people have heard of, and something much more serious: postpartum depression, or PPD. They are definitely not the same thing. So let's break it down. You see here, the baby blues, that's more like mild mood swings, some anxiety, and it usually just lasts for a couple of weeks. It kind of fades on its own. But PPD, that's a whole different story. We're talking about a sadness that's persistent, that just won't go away, sometimes even a feeling of numbness. It's deeper, it lasts way longer, and this is the key: it really requires support and treatment. So what should you actually be looking for? Well, the symptoms of PPD are much more than just feeling sad. It can be this persistent sadness, sure, but it can also feel like, well, nothing, an emotional numbness, or this bone-deep exhaustion that no amount of sleep can fix. You might feel incredibly irritable or angry, or just be crushed by feelings of guilt and worthlessness. And sometimes it can make it really hard to bond with the baby, or even lead to scary thoughts about hurting yourself. Just being able to spot these signs, that's the first most important step.
And I really want to hammer this point home. PPD is not a sign of weakness. It is not a character flaw, and it is absolutely not a personal failure. It's a real medical condition, and it's caused by a whole bunch of complex factors all hitting at once.
So let's look at what's actually going on in the body and mind. First, you've got this massive hormonal crash. Estrogen and progesterone just plummet after birth, and that alone can wreak havoc on your mood. Then, pile on top of that some serious sleep deprivation. We're talking round-the-clock newborn demands. Your body is also trying to physically heal from childbirth, and you're going through this enormous identity shift. I mean, you're a parent now. It really is the perfect storm. And if you don't have a good support system, the whole thing can feel completely overwhelming. Okay, but this brings us to what I think is the most powerful part of this whole conversation: the turning point. It's that moment when a mother realizes that asking for help, it isn't just okay, it is an act of incredible strength. I mean, just look at this quote. It says it all, doesn't it? Let me just say that again, because it's so important. Seeking help is not a sign of being a bad mother, it's a sign of strength. It means you're taking charge of your own health, for you and for your baby. Honestly, it might be the bravest thing you can do when you're in that dark place. And that's the bottom line, right? We have to completely change the way we think about this. I mean, think about it. You would never tell someone with a broken leg to just walk it off. Of course not. Postpartum depression is a real, legitimate medical condition. And the best part? It's treatable. So you might be wondering, okay, what does getting better actually look like? And the really great news here is that there is a path forward, a clear path to healing, with real, concrete steps you can take to get back to feeling like yourself again. Okay, this journey to healing starts with step one, and it's the biggest one: just talking to someone. A healthcare professional, a doctor, a therapist. That is the absolute most important first move. Then, step two is about exploring your options. That might mean therapy, maybe medication, or even just some lifestyle changes. And step three is so critical: building your village, your support system. You need family and partners who are there to support you, not to judge you. They're a huge part of the recovery. And, it's so important to remember that this isn't just about the mother. When a mom gets the help she needs, the positive effects ripple out. A healthy, supported mother is just crucial for her baby's well-being, and honestly, for the health of the whole family. And I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. The goal here isn't to achieve some kind of perfect Instagram filter version of motherhood. That doesn't exist. It's about finding real meaning and connection in all the moments, the messy ones, the tough ones, and the beautiful ones. Learning to be okay with good enough is a huge part of the journey. So that really leaves us with one big question to think about. This isn't just one person's problem to solve. It's on all of us. It's a community thing. So how can we, as partners, as friends, as family, as a society, how can we build communities where no new mother ever has to suffer in silence? How do we make it so that no one has to go through the storm all by themselves?